And good morning. I'm really glad to see that all of you are here this morning to help us at Private Financial support Ellie's Place. For those of you who may not be familiar with Private, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So on your tables and on the screen, you'll see just see this card that simply tells our story. We're glad to support Ellie's Place because the missions of our two organizations intersect at the loss of a family member. While we at Private help families be financially prepared for loss, Ellie's Place helps families through their loss in a very different but critical way. The difference we both make in the lives of families is immeasurable. We're honored to help Ellie's Place support families through their grief. To use a phrase that's embedded in our story, I encourage you this morning to live generously. Thank you.
Good morning, we're the Carr family. I'm Tammy. This is my husband Jason, our sons CJ and Tommy. September 23rd, 2014 is the day that forever changed our perspective on life and on what is truly important. That day we took our 3-year-old son Chad for an MRI after a fall. An MRI that we had to fight for and that we thought was to simply confirm a possible concussion. They told my husband Jason and me that the MRI would take a couple of hours and not to be worried. After 3.5 hours, we were worried. And when we saw the look in the anesthesiologist's eyes after the MRI was complete, we knew we were in trouble. She said they had found something, and that something turned out to be a brain tumor. Okay, this is worse. So, as a parent, what is your first reaction when you're told that your child has cancer? I can tell you it's not to panic, but it's to fight. You ask, how do we fix this? What is the treatment plan, and when do we start, and how do we get that tumor out? Your adrenaline starts pumping, and you're ready for the battle. So we asked those questions, and we got answers that today I honestly still can't wrap my head around. I'm sorry. Your son Chad has diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, or DIPG. It is a tumor in the brainstem. We cannot take it out. There really is no treatment plan, and there is a 0% survival, and he has about 9 months to live. We created many memories as a family during Chad's battle. Chad spent every possible moment with his brothers, CJ and Tommy, who he loved with every ounce of his being. And we shared our story with anyone who would listen. We pushed Chad's physicians to think outside of the box, and we fought as hard as we could. We refused to give up. Unfortunately, after fighting for 14 months, our son Chad took his final breath on November 23rd, 2015. That is a moment I relive in my head over and over, and it's something I think about every day and likely will for the rest of my life. It's a moment that no parent should ever have to go through. What was left after Chad passed was a family in turmoil. Every minute of every day over the past 14 months had been spent attending to this little boy. Our entire focus had been on Chad, and now we needed to find our way back to healing as a family. During Chad's battle, my husband Jason and I worried a lot about CJ and Tommy. We worried about how much we should share with them. We worried about how they would handle mom and dad definitely not being present that often. And we worried about how things would be for them if Chad didn't make it. Well, when that reality was staring us in the eyes, our first thoughts went to our church and to Ellie's Place. Making that first call to Ellie's Place was hard, but we needed help for our boys, and we needed help for our family. As parents, we knew the pain we were feeling about losing our child, but it was really hard to know what CJ and Tommy were feeling about losing their brother. We talked about Chad, but we never really felt like they wanted to share too much with us. They didn't like it when Mommy cried, and we felt like they were trying to protect us. What a comfort to know that Ellie's Place was there to help us navigate this horrible time. When we went to our first night at Ellie's, the boys reluctantly agreed to participate. CJ's experience immediately changed when he saw someone he knew from sports at the potluck. He didn't know that this boy was going to be there, and he never even knew that he had lost a little sister. CJ immediately had a connection that helped him to realize he wasn't alone. There were people he knew who understood his pain. That was huge. Tommy was a little harder to convince, but we kept at it, and with this guy, if he's not complaining about going, then that means he's actually enjoying it. It didn't take long for him to get to that place. And on the night when I asked about his group, and his response to me was, "What happens at Ellie's place stays at Ellie's place." I knew he was there. You see, that's one of the biggest fears that Ellie's Place helps to alleviate. You don't want to push your kids through their grief. You don't want to make them talk to you if they don't want to talk to you, but you're scared for them. You want them to be okay. And knowing that they're talking to someone, knowing that they're meeting other people just like them who get it, that is such a comfort. During a time when there are very few shining moments, Ellie's Place becomes one. In addition to the support for our kids, Jason and I were able to join a support group of parents who had lost children. There were so many wonderful people in our lives. We really are blessed to have an amazing support group and community. But very few of them really understand how we're feeling. And we don't want them to even try to understand that, honestly. But the parents group at Ellie's Place was different. Everyone in there understood and shared our pain. We were able to learn from those parents who were further along in their journey than we were. And we were hopefully able to give those who came after us help. The purpose of Ellie's Place is to help grieving children, but I know they also provided a tremendous resource to me and Jason as well. Family nights during the summer were some of the times that were most impactful for us. This piece that we created, it hangs in my office now as a reminder. That carved out a time for us to share memories together about Chad. It let Jason and I hear our boys talk about him, which felt really good. Each of the leaves on there is a memory with Chad.
My favorite one that we put up there was Chad's songs that he liked. For a 5-year-old kid, he had a very inappropriate song. His favorite song was Black and Yellow, and he always told Daddy to put the E version up on. He liked Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars and Apple Bottom Jeans, which
now, mine isn't really my favorite, but it's his favorite colors, green and red. He never actually liked green and red. He just liked saying that because we did not like green and red.
So mine that I put on there it says Tootie, and Tootie was Chad's dog, and he named this dog. He always wanted a dog, and I always said, no way. And so about 3 days after Chad was diagnosed, a group of our neighbors chipped in together and bought him this dog against my wishes. I still do not speak for several of them. He's just been diagnosed. We are in turmoil, and nobody's paying attention to this dog, so this dog is never potty trained. And his favorite spot to go was, of course, in my office. So I would after about 3 weeks, I said, we have got to get this dog. So I was like fanatical about, the dog would not leave Chad's side. He'd be upstairs in bed with Chad. I'd be downstairs, and I'd say, Tootie, come on, we gotta go outside. So the dog would come running down, and you'd hear Chad, and Chad would say, Tootie. And that dog would go running right back upstairs. And then he would laugh like you never would. And I'd say, Chad. You know, and then I get to the point where you really play this up, but it happened for weeks. I'd say, Chad, he's got to go outside. Come on. And he'd be like, okay, I won't do it. So he comes downstairs and you're, Tootie! And he'd go right back up. So that's just one of my all-time favorite memories of him, hearing him laugh like that.
Oh gosh, yeah. There's lots of memories. They're all being talked about right here now too. We do talk about Chad a lot, which is a good thing. But carving out that time to purposefully share the memories and create something like this, that was a great bonding experience. And it's something that we plan to recreate at home as we're moving forward in our healing. Knowing that our boys were sharing with their peers was something that was also really important to us. We learned from other parents that as your kids grow, their grief changes, and many times they want to go back to all these places we're no longer attending. So we know that's always an option, and we have shared that with our boys. We know that once you're an Ellie's Place family, you're always an Ellie's Place family. Less than 2 years out from Chad's death, our family is doing as well as can be expected. My answer when people ask how we're doing, we're taking one day at a time. As a family, we talk about Chad a lot, and the Chad Tough Foundation that we created in his honor helps us daily to focus on finding something positive out of this horrible tragedy. These two boys are our blessings left on this earth, and they have a special little guardian angel watching over them. We're so thankful that Ellie's Place was there to help us take care of them when we were having a hard time figuring out how to just take care of ourselves. We'll forever be grateful, and we will always be an Ellie's Place family. Thank you.